Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 208. And guess what? We won! Yes!
What a great way to bring in the 208th episode, which is our 4th year consecutively.
Yes. All right.
Wow.
So let's run the intro and the credits and we'll get back to that. We're brought to you by our amazing Patreon patrons. We can't do this show without the support of our patrons because it's just not the way that YouTube works. We don't make the kind of content that gets a zillion views because we don't make stupid content. We make smart content. And it takes smart people like you to help keep this show humming. So head over to Patreon where you'll find tons of great perks and you'll help support this show, bringing positive news about really positive things.
So you remember a month ago, I applied Avalon King Armor Shield to my Model X?
Yes, I remember because you only applied it to one half of the car.
Yes, it's for science. That way you can see the side with Armor Shield applied on the right. This is weeks later and water is still beating up.
So use the link in our show notes below and the coupon code NYK25 to get $25 off Armor Shield by Avalon King.
So in today's show, we're going to be telling you all about Neuralink's presentation that happened on Friday. But before we do, I just want to talk about how they got there.
Like they took an Uber? Or?
No, I'm talking about first principles. Elon always goes back to first principles in physics to decide if one of his ideas is even possible. And it got me thinking how little I learned about physics in school.
Good point. And how long ago you learned that in school. Yeah. I think physics
Was
might
there
have
even
changed
physics
by
back
then. And I kind of wish that I could go back and take some different classes and things that I'm really interested in now.
Yeah, and that's what I like about Brilliant.org. It's like having your own personal teacher who can inspire you to actively play with the ideas of science and math.
Yeah, Brilliant offers interactive learning that explores the concepts that shape our world. I'm taking courses on some Newtonian physics right now, and it's super helpful for when you're actually, when I play Kerbal Space Program, which is just a representation of real life. So, I could take those concepts to a game, but I could also take those concepts to SpaceX if I wanted to.
Yeah, and I know I've said this before, but it's true. Elon didn't know anything about rockets before he started SpaceX, the world's best rocket company. So think about that. By learning about science and math, you can unlock just about any technology.
And for me, with Brilliant, I don't get overwhelmed. I mean, in school, it's like, okay, there's going to be a final exam and a midterm exam, and there's going to be tests every week, and then there's going to be a quiz the middle of the week, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have all this quizzes to do. And Brilliant does quizzes, but you're not stressed out about them because at the end of the day, it's about what's in your head, not what's on a piece of paper.
Yeah, and I like Brilliant's daily problem. It kind of warms up my brain and gets me in the mood for more.
So to support our channel and learn more about Brilliant.org, go to Brilliant.org/nowyouknow and sign up for free.
And also, the first 200 people that go to that link will get 20% off the annual premium subscription. And we're sponsored by ecoware.us, where we've got new designs every week, and we carbon offset the manufacturer, shipping, and life cycle of your purchase, and we plant a tree for every order. So help support us here on Now You Know by heading over to ecoware.us.
So we won at Pikes Peak. Blake Fuller.
So excited.
So Blake Fuller broke his own record. This was the production EV class. But not only that, he was also the fastest exhibition car up Pikes Peak.
And can I just say, exhibition means you can do pretty much whatever you want to the car.
He was racing up against a bunch of diesels. They were just spewing as much smoke and crap into the air as they wanted. They were saying, oh, Smokey, here he goes. And Blake beat him using a car that had significantly less energy in it.
And I mean, remember that Randy Popst actually got back into the race with his number 42 car. They were working on it for 48 hours straight. They got back in the race, which was awesome. We had 2 Tesla Model 3s. Now, we weren't racing against Randy, so to speak, because he had a completely different car. His was modified. It had 3 radiator coolers and all sorts of great stuff in it that we don't have. We have a production Model 3. That means it's just like driving off a Tesla lot and then driving up Pikes Peak.
Right. The only thing we changed were the wheels, the tires, the brake pads, not the brakes themselves. We tore everything out of the car, put it in a roll cage, and we disengaged the airbags. I mean, that's all we did.
And get this, Blake beat Randy.
So Randy was driving a modified Model 3. They were able to do whatever they wanted to the car. They had changed the suspension, they had changed the brakes, they had changed the wheels and the tires, and they had changed, they'd pulled off some body panels, they'd replaced it with carbon fiber. This was a mean driving machine, and Blake pulled it off with a off-the-lot Tesla. I can't believe it. And again, he broke his record from 2016. The car that he beat the record in 2016 cost $140,000. He beat the record this year. The entire team spend, including if we had bought the car, which we didn't. Thank you so much, EV Dave. If we had bought the car and spent everything that we had from you guys, from our supporters, we still would have spent less money than just the car from his run last year. That shows the advance in technology from Tesla. And oh my God, I'm just so excited.
Yeah, in just a couple of years. I mean, this is a 2018 Model 3.
Right.
And just another amazing thing, this race car had more miles on it than any other race car going up Pikes Peak. This race car had 27,000 miles on it. Blake drove it from Florida to Colorado and then won the race in it.
Right. And we couldn't have done any of it without our community sponsors.
Yeah,
so,
I want to take a second to just thank everyone on the team right now. I mean, I want to first thank Dave for sharing his Model 3 performance with us and filming every day for us. Shane for wrapping the car and getting all the decals made. 150 of you who supported us, the community sponsors, without whom we could have never made this journey. Toyo Tires, K1 Speed, NRS Brakes, Martian Wheels, and then our amazing pit crew team, Kyle from Out of Spec Motoring, Victoria, Henry, Drew, Alice, Tori, Greg, and of course, Blake Fuller, who worked day in, day out tirelessly for months to prepare and then lead the team to victory.
And I mean, what a victory this is. The most cost-effective, I think, race team at the mountain that day.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at pretty much any other team, they spent more than Blake.
I heard commentators talking about how only rich people can do this race because it requires hundreds of thousands of dollars just for the car. And you know what? We're changing that because if you want to get into racing now, I know it's still expensive to buy a new car, but buying a Model 3 Performance is nowhere near as expensive as one of those other race cars.
Right. I mean, to buy a Porsche, just to buy the car, let alone all the modifications that you're going to need to do to it, you're talking, I mean, just the car, again, over $100,000 spend. Then to make all of the modifications that you need to do, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the electric performance team, we were able to do it for less than $100,000.
I know. Let's cut to Blake on the mountain right now. So Blake, congratulations. I want to know about what your strategy was on the mountain.
Yeah, so from the beginning, the race strategy was to be able to beat the electric production record and for me to drive with a similar level of aggression that I had in the Model S so that we could really, as Tesla enthusiasts, be able to compare the progression between the Model S P90DL that I set the record and the new 2018 Model 3 Performance. Now granted, the Model 3 had 28,000 miles on it, the Model S had 9,000, but that being said, really the strategy was to finish, to be able to represent all of our supporters and to be able to get a new record.
And how important was it to having those testing days?
Yeah, so prior to Pikes Peak, we were very fortunate thanks to Dave providing the car so quickly after the call for help. We had multiple months and we actually had more time because of the delay of the race. So all of those test days actually, I think, really is what gave us our result we had. I think that we would have broken the record without testing, but it would have been very close. But we were able to beat the record by 45 seconds because of testing. The course this year was so rough that our multiple test days at Sebring played a huge benefit. A lot of the switchbacks and hairpins were very tight that required an understanding of the track mode. So our time at the out-of-spec motoring track, thank you Kyle, was instrumental to understanding the car's balance during those situations. And because it was a very long distance run up the 12 miles, our testing that we did at VIR and Sebring of multiple laps allowed us to get a better sense of the thermal management and capabilities of the car. So it's test, and they say practice makes perfect, and we got close to a perfect run yesterday, and it was all that practice. So thank you everybody for your support, because that support allowed us to have the money to be able to actually go and test and have the result that all of us are proud of.
So 7 months ago, we were sitting down with you in Austin, Texas, talking about an idea to race a Model 3 at Pikes Peak. And just yesterday, you actually completed that idea and you won. What does it feel like to have accomplished this goal that was pretty rushed.
Yeah, how did it feel? Well, I think Zach and Jesse, you got the video there, so you can share that with everybody of my initial reaction. If I look back, it's amazing how much work went into this, thousands and thousands of hours between not only the logistics, the building, and the planning, but also the thousands of hours that the volunteer team put in this week to be able to get the car finalized, as well as every single day was actually a pleasure. We had a good time as a team, and I think that's the biggest reward, is that even if we had failed to finish, I think that just getting this far during the times that we're living in right now, it's really a testament to the Tesla community and to all of our supporters that we're able to put an electric vehicle on Pikes Peak. Keep in mind, there was only 3 there, and it might have been because of us making that headway that the other 2 came as well. So without us being there would have been no electric vehicles, which would have been such a shame that in 2020 there wouldn't have been electric vehicles at Pikes Peak. So I felt really good about the results, and looking forward to future results just like this.
Wow. Congratulations, Blake.
And congratulations to Tesla. I mean, without the Model 3 performance, this accomplishment wouldn't have been accomplished, because there's no way that we could have built a car from scratch in just 7 months.
And let's just talk about the accomplishment to be clear here. There's a bunch. So Blake won fastest EV production car up Pikes Peak.
Breaking his own record.
Yep.
By 45 seconds, over 45 seconds.
Blake has the fastest Tesla up Pikes Peak.
11 minutes and 2 seconds.
He has the fastest exhibition class in 2020 up Pikes Peak. First Tesla Model 3 up Pikes Peak.
Yep.
And then this one, which I just set my bar low. I was like, there's no way that a stock car is going to beat a modified car.
Driven by Randy Popst.
Right. So Blake beat a modified Model 3 with a stock Model 3.
Right.
Absolutely stunning. I'm just so pumped right now.
Yes.
So if you want to follow the entire road to Pikes Peak, we gave away all our secrets. Blake every week showed us what he was doing to the car, what his strategies were. You can head over to the Electric Performance channel, where we laid out a weekly Road to Pikes Peak series where you can see the entire story. It's phenomenal.
And we're going to be showing as much of the racing footage as we can get our hands on. I think that we're going to have helicopter shots, GoPro footage, exterior shots of the car as it goes up Pikes Peak. And we're also going to have more stuff. This is not the end of Electric Performance. This is just the beginning.
And please hit the thumbs up button, because the thumbs up early in the video tells the YouTube algorithm that it should share this video with more people. And the more people that hear about Tesla and sustainable energy, the faster we change the world.
So Tesla Battery Day. The invites finally went out, and most people aren't going.
Yeah, it's a lottery system. And so, yeah, most people aren't going because it's going to be very limited space.
But the interesting part wasn't just that people aren't going to be able to go. The interesting part was the invitation itself.
Of course, yeah. In traditional Tesla style, when the invite goes off, there's some picture on there that tells you something. Remember the Cybertruck invite?
Yes, the Cybertruck invite one specifically showed the Cybertruck, as long as you knew how to manipulate the image, because they drove the Cybertruck across, so it's this long exposure blur shot, but at the beginning, it wasn't moving, and you can actually see a silhouette of what the Cybertruck looked like, and of course, no one believed that that's what the Cybertruck would look like.
Right, so on this invitation, what is this a picture of?
Well, I mean, obviously, this is 100% silicon nanowire anode technology, so that's exactly what it is, and you know who is doing that kind of stuff? Amprius Technology, which is right next door to Tesla at Fremont. So simply add those two things together.
Okay,
bada bing, bada boom. That's Battery Day. You got Battery Day. You don't even need to go anymore. We already know what it is.
Slow down.
What?
This tweet from Sam Corris from Ark Invest is pretty important, I think. Part 1 says, so check out this company, Amprius. They make silicon nanowire technology. Look where they moved their headquarters to, right next to Tesla's Cato Road facility. And then part 2 of his tweet says, why does Elon keep hinting at his excitement for an electric jet? In the past, he has said that electric flight starts to get interesting once you hit 400 watt-hours per kilogram. And then Elon responded, 400 watt-hours per kilogram with high cycle life, produced in volume, not just at a lab. It's not far, probably 3 to 4 years. So there's a lot to unpack here.
Right. So the first thing is Amprius, I think. The location of it is just uncanny. It's right across from Cato Road, which is where Tesla is doing their secret skunk works battery stuff that we don't know anything about.
Yes, except that Elon then tweeted out when Clean Technica said that. They said, Tesla and Amprius, what is going on? And he said,
nothing.
And then he went on to say, but actually, nothing. Was surprised to hear they're across the road. Adding silicon to carbon anode makes sense. We already do. Question is just what ratio of silicon to carbon and what shape? Silicon expands like crazy during discharge and comes apart, so cycle life is usually bad. So this is important to point out. Lots of battery companies talk about how they can get a really high energy density,
Right.
but they don't talk about the cycle life. If you need the cycle life to be long, like in a car, then maybe you don't have such a great technology. And so I think what Elon's saying here is, yeah, we already know about adding silicon. It's very hard to get it to last long if you do that.
Right, which means that maybe Amprius isn't a part of battery day. So that kind of brings up the question as to whether or not they are talking about a silicon nanowire technology at all, or if this invitation is a red herring, or if it's they're just trying to throw us off. I mean, one thing to keep in mind about some of the bigger unveilings for Tesla is that they usually kind of had one thing that they might show you even on the invitation. Like, for the semi-truck, there was a picture of the semi-truck. For the Cybertruck, you could kind of, if you knew what you were doing, find a picture of the Cybertruck. But let's just think for a second. At the semi-truck unveiling, what was also unveiled?
Oh, the Roadster.
The Roadster. At the Cybertruck unveiling, what was also unveiled?
Oh, the Cyber Quad.
Exactly. So there's usually something in the back of whatever they're doing.
Oh.
So what I'm basically conjecturing here is that, battery day, they're probably going to drop a big bomb on us and go like, whoa, this is amazing. And then usually they pull something out of their sleeve and they go, and for my next trick, so that's kind of where I'm coming from here. You might think, maybe they thought that everyone would think that it was silicon nanowires. Maybe they thought that it was just like anode material just in general.
So what's the second thing? I'm waiting for the second thing.
You think just because I could have predicted the Roadster, do you think that means that I can predict what's going to be a battery day? I mean, it could be ultracapacitors. It could be
ultracapacitors.
It could be a million-mile battery. It could be an electric VTOL. I mean, imagine they're like, okay, and that was the cool thing that we did. And then the doors open behind him, electric VTOL, or it comes and it lands somewhere.
Let's talk about this for a second. So 400 watt hours per kilogram of energy density. The 2170 batteries right now have about 260 watt hours per kilogram of energy density. So to get to 400 watt hours, that's about 50% higher energy density. Elon says in probably 3 to 4 years. Sounds very reasonable. And so you're right. They could be talking about a VTOL even if they don't have the battery for it yet because it takes a while to develop.
Potentially. I think that he wouldn't...
Just leave it at that. I want to hear about a VTOL.
He wouldn't bring out the VTOL if he didn't have the batteries for it.
Okay. Now, important note here, if you are a Tesla shareholder, and there's a lot of new shareholders out there, and if you want to be able to vote your shares, there's a couple ways you can do it. One is you can vote through your broker, or if you want to vote at shareholder day, you have to make sure that you get a copy of your proxy from your brokerage. So you're going to have to email them or call them, have them send you a copy of your proxy. Email that to Tesla by going to the investor relation page where you'll find the email address to do that. And there'll be 7 proposals for Tesla shareholders to vote at. So if you're wondering, like, should you bother? Well, here's what you'll be voting on. You'll be voting on the election of 3 directors, Elon Musk, Robin Denholm, and Hiromichi Mizuno. Then there's a couple perfunctory votes on executive compensation and appointing the public accounting firm of Pricewaterhouse. And then there's 4 stockholder proposals that Tesla's board recommends voting against. Number 4 is stockholder proposal regarding paid advertising. And so this one was basically just like a recommendation to start advertising. Yep.
Which I don't agree with either.
Right. Stockholder proposal regarding simple majority voting provisions in our governing documents. 6 is stockholder proposal regarding reporting on employee arbitration. And number 7 is a stockholder proposal regarding additional reporting on human rights. So if you want to vote on these, make sure that you go do the appropriate steps so that you can vote your shares.
So Tesla applied to the Chinese Ministry of Industry and Information Technology for a change to the Model 3.
Wait, what's the change going to be? Like a 5th wheel?
No, it's just going to be probably a Chrome delete similar to the Model Y.
What's a Chrome delete again?
So if you have a Model 3 or if you've seen a Model 3 before, you'll know that there's silvery, shiny bits on the car. So that you're talking the door handles, right. The side repeaters, the rear view mirrors, part of the rear view mirrors, and a lot of the trim.
Wait a minute. That's the only way I can tell a Model Y from a Model 3 practically,
right.
Is that the Model Y has a Chrome delete.
Yes.
Now, so you're telling me that Model 3s are going to have this now?
Yeah.
Why?
So I think that this has been a style that's continued for a very long time. It's been going on for at least a decade, where people will delete the chrome on their car, usually, Plasti Dip or some kind of spray or some way to cover the chrome on their car, make it black because it's obviously much cooler. Just a very subjective thing to say so objectively about. But it has been such a style that I think that a lot of people are, going out of their way and doing this. Tesla knows that this is the cool style. And one way that you can kind of raise your brand is by doing it to all the cars.
Isn't it also cheaper?
It is also cheaper. I'm glad you brought that up because chrome is actually a pretty expensive process to do it, to chrome something.
And it's kind of bad for the environment.
Exactly. It's much easier to just have like a flat black than it is to, electroplate plastic or whatever to be your trim or whatnot.
Now, do you think this will come to the US and Europe as well, or do you think it'll just be for the Chinese market?
Well, it seems that most of the updates that Tesla's been doing to their lines have started in China and then worked their way around the globe, usually in an eastward direction, because it usually then the United States and then Europe. I think that it's pretty smart because when they sell a Model 3 to anybody, you could imagine the most lamest guy in the world.
Yes, I would like one of those Tesla things there.
So let's call him Todd.
My name is Todd.
Yeah, Todd gets his Model 3. It's got a chrome delete. Todd didn't have to go out, buy Plasti Dip, spend hours taping up his car and spraying it and doing everything like that. Because guess what? Todd wasn't ever going to do that because he didn't care what his car looked like. He just wanted an affordable electric car that would do everything that he needed. So that's why he bought the car. But to all the people around who are walking through the parking lot, because let's face it, cars are parked most of the time, they're going to see Todd's car and go, whoa, that car is awesome. Even though the guy who's driving it.
Thank you.
Right. So I think that this is a really smart way for Tesla to continue to raise their brand without having to kind of rely on people to do custom modifications to their car.
So there's actually an update coming to the Model Y as well. Now, it's not an over-the-air update. It's an actual physical update. Tesla appears to have updated the design of the Model Y taillight. All right, so here's the old one, and here is the new one.
No, you just showed me the right one. I want to see the new one.
I did. I just showed you the old one right here, and then I showed you the new one right here.
So it's like more red?
So, okay, it's a slight change. Basically, a brighter red outer brake light and now an amber turn signal light to replace the original red turn signal light. So let me show you a video that'll make it easier to see.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I like amber turn signal lights. I do not like this North American, just one side, your brake light, whatever. And also Europeans... Right. I think that's probably an important change for Europe because you can't sell a car that just blinks its brake lights.
Yeah, and remember, there's a lot of complications when you're bringing an American car over to Europe. If you didn't put the right parts on it, you have to just let it sit there until you can change them out. So hopefully now this will reduce some of the stress over
Although most of the Model Ys shouldn't be shipped to Europe. They should be
made
built in Europe. Yeah.
All right, so people write to us all the time and they're like, are there any other electric car companies we can invest in?
Yes.
There's another one now, XPENG. It's got the stock ticker symbol of XPEV, and it just sold 100 million ADRs for $15 each, raising roughly $1.5 billion in the process.
What is an ADR?
Well, it's essentially a stock in a foreign company that's traded on an American exchange. So you're buying a Chinese company, but you're buying it here in the U.S. And so the IPO values the XPENG startup between $10 and $11 billion. And to give you some idea where that range is, Li, which is another Chinese EV maker, is valued at about $21 billion. And another peer, NIO, is valued at about $25 billion. All right, so Elon just confirmed on Twitter last Thursday that the Giga Nevada was the target of a cyber attack.
A cyber quad attack?
No, a cyber software attack.
A soft Cybertruck attack?
No.
Cyber attack. Like cyberspace.
Yeah. So Teslarati tweeted the story and Elon responded, much appreciated. This was a serious attack.
So what happened?
All right. So this is like a story right out of a spy novel. In a complaint filed with the FBI in Las Vegas last Tuesday, the suspect Igor Igorovich Khrushchev, who's 27, was somehow able to befriend an employee at Tesla's Gigafactory 1 in Sparks, Nevada.
Well, with a name like that, this does sound like a spy movie. So he befriended an employee?
Yeah, so basically he, I guess, emailed a bunch of employees, finally found someone who'd get back to him, and it was like, hey, comrade, would you like to help me get inside the factory?
He wanted to get inside the factory to do what?
He wanted to insert some ransomware software into Tesla's like mainframe or whatever, into their network, so that they could ransom Tesla after stealing their info. So the employee went to the authorities, thankfully, and the FBI got him to wear a wire. So then Igor offered him $1 million, and to show his good faith, he said he'd pay him $11,000 up front. And then it sounds like Khrushchev got spooked, and he was like, "Comrade, I'll need a day to come up with the money." And he drove to LA and he tried to get on a plane to leave town. That's when he was arrested by the FBI. So the FBI found out that this hacker group had also ransomed CWT Group back in July, and they had to pay $4.5 million to get the hacker software out of their computer system.
So why do I feel like I've read about this before?
You have.
What?
You read about it in Big Oil Strikes Back.
What in this? In this?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. The whole plot is right there in that comic book.
Oh, wow. You even got Igor right there. Look at that. The spy with the monocle. Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole plot is in that comic book, basically.
Eli, are you a part of this? But wait a minute. So they were able to kind of catch this guy before he did any kind of cyber attack. So it's not, I mean, it would have been a cyber attack.
Yeah. It was
an attempted
cyber attack.
It's a thwarted.
It was a thwarted cyber attack.
But I mean, let's say he got in there with his USB stick and he plugged it into the computer.
Right.
There is still another layer of security.
Yes, but it was planned to be a DDoS attack. It was going to keep IT very busy with like this massive attack, and then supposedly they wouldn't have noticed the backdoor thing doing whatever the thing does. Anyway, the fact that they had already done it to another major company shows that they might have been successful. Who knows?
That's right.
So, I mean, thank goodness Tesla has employees that are alert.
Yeah. And it is funny because, I mean, I remember when I went to school for engineering, they had a whole little section, I think it was in engineering ethics, about corporate espionage, played out exactly like this.
Wow.
A guy, he's down on his luck. They really played it up. He's like down on his luck. He's like, "Oh, this sucks." And then he's approached by foreigners and they're like, "We want some secrets from your company." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know about this." And then I think he went and talked to his wife, who was like, "You should tell someone about it." And then he did. And they caught him.
Wow. You hear that, Tesla?
Again, that's education right there.
Yeah.
Because if I was approached and was like, "Oh, we want some of your information," that's what I would have done.
Yeah. How do you think they should reward him? Model 3 or something?
Model 3. Yeah. Here, you can have this one. Someone thought that there was a scratch on it, but there isn't.
Tesla Time News is sponsored by Cybertruck Owners Club. There you'll find a crowdsourced reservation tracker that you can update and find your place in line. Check out their website for Cybertruck news, discussions, and community for Cybertruck enthusiasts and future owners. And they've got a 3D configurator allowing you to visualize the Cybertruck in any color, wrap, and logo, both on screen and in augmented reality. All right, so Neuralink had their big update presentation on Friday. A lot of people were worried that this might be the beginning of Skynet, but it's Monday and everything still seems to be okay, so that's good, right?
Affirmative. That is good.
All right, so Elon started off the presentation by stating that the purpose here of Neuralink is to solve important brain and spine problems with a seamlessly installed device. And these problems affect pretty much everyone. So take a look at this list here. It's not just people who have had, say, a major injury. It's also just the fact that we all get older and we all start losing our memory and our sight and our hearing.
Right. So, I mean, we're talking memory loss, hearing loss, blindness, paralysis, depression, insomnia, extreme pain, seizures, anxiety, addiction, strokes, and brain damage. Now, so, I mean, this covers every aspect of the spectrum from people who have lost the ability to move their limbs, which I would say is a really big deal, but affects a small number of people, to anxiety, which affects pretty much everybody. And you might say, well, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but if you were to take everyone and help their anxiety by a large margin, it's a huge impact.
Yeah, and Elon said, we're not trying to raise money or do anything else, but the main purpose is to convince great people to come to work at Neuralink and help us bring the product to fruition, make it affordable and reliable and such that anyone who wants one can have one. And so, yeah, if you're thinking that maybe you'd like to be part of the team, here's the email address that you can apply to because they're recruiting all sorts of people.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I haven't operated on a brain before. I don't know anything about the brain.
Elon said, I mean, if you've worked or shipped products before, or even if you have no prior experience on brains, they would like to work with you. They just need smart people.
Whoa, okay, that's pretty cool.
Because, I mean, they've got about 100 employees right now. Elon said they're going to 10,000.
So it sounds like they're hiring.
Yeah. So remember that last year, the N1 prototype that was announced, it had these wires that would go to this device behind your ear. And now Elon says they've advanced it completely to a version 0.9 where it's completely in your skull.
What, in my so they're gonna carve out a big chunk of my brain and install like a little computer in there? And
No, so they're basically just going to remove a little section of your skull about the size of a dime. They're going to put in these electrodes with a robot, and then they're going to replace your skull with this little N1 sensor. So it's basically going to be flush with your scalp.
so you're gonna replace a part of my skull, the bone, the cranium of my human body with a computer?
Well, so let's take a look at this. They actually did this to some pigs. So they did a little demo here. Joyce, who has no implant, Gertrude, who had it installed 2 months ago, and then Dorothy, who used to have the implant, and now it's been removed. All three of the pigs are perfectly happy. But the cool thing is that with Gertrude, we can see a few things about her brain that you normally can't see in a pig.
I mean, you can usually tell if a pig is happy,
Yeah.
whether or not it's eating food or laying out in the sun. But we could actually know when Gertrude was smelling things.
Yeah, so take a look at this video here where basically as Gertrude puts her snout down onto things and is sniffing around, you can see the brain activity. And then when she picks her snout up, no brain activity.
Yeah.
So we're actually seeing what her brain is seeing.
Wow, that's super crazy.
And then they went on to show this. This is a pig on a treadmill, and this pig has a Neuralink installed, and they're able to predict the location of its joints accurately, which is pretty mind-blowing.
So it's sort of like how when you close your eyes, you can kind of know what your arms are going to do and where they are. So like if you're like up here, you'd be like, oh, I need to bring my hand down and around. If I can't just like,
Right.
it doesn't fit, right? You can do that because you know in your brain, you know where your arms are.
Right.
So the pig knows where the little pig's legs are, and the Neuralink now knows where the brain thinks the legs are.
Right. I mean, and this is how in the future we could be able to control an exoskeleton or control limbs that we no longer have control of.
So this is like the technology that we need in order to get, the Spartans from Halo.
This N1 has an all-day battery life, and it's inductively charged, so there's no wires needed to charge it. And it takes less than an hour to install this with an advanced robot. Seriously, though, the amazing part is after the surgery, you should be able to walk around right after the surgery, and there shouldn't be any bleeding because these electrodes are put in so perfectly between your veins and arteries that there's no bleeding.
Right, and they're so small, too.
Yeah.
We're talking 5 nanometers.
Yeah.
That's 1/20th the width of your human hair.
And Elon said they can probably get it even smaller. So there's 1,024 channels. That means they can put 1,024 electrodes into your brain, and each electrode can influence 10 to 1,000 neurons. That means we could be talking to up to 1 million neurons in your brain.
Wow.
It has a wireless range of 5 to 10 meters. So the idea is it's going to talk to your phone with Bluetooth. So you can start to actually communicate with your phone. Now, they've received FDA breakthrough device designation in July. So they're actually allowed to start testing. And there were some really cool questions at the end. One of them was, can you summon your Tesla telepathically?
And Elon said, yes, definitely. That's an easy one. So thank goodness.
Can it be used for gaming?
Elon said 100%. So that's, okay. That's cool.
One question was, is it limited to just the surface layers of the brain?
And Elon said no, that they were planning on sewing into deeper depths later on. There, I think up to about 7 millimeters deep.
That they can go now.
Yeah.
One question was, what's the most challenging problem? And Elon said the material science. The electrodes have to last for decades. Currently, they're made of silicon carbide, and they're 5 microns, but they can go submicron in the near future. Will you be able to save and replay memories in the future?
And Elon said yes. It sounds like Black Mirror, but you'd be able to store memories as backup and then restore them and upload them to a robot body. And not just like, oh, remember our wedding day? No, it would be like the person that I know died. And then the next day would walk in as a robot. Hello, I remember everything. It probably wouldn't sound like that, but you could have a robot person who used to be a person.
Right. One question was availability. What's going to be the cost? And Elon said, well, the cost at launch is not representative of what the price will be. It'll rapidly drop. He said it's basically going to be similar to the price of getting LASIK surgery.
So a few $1,000s.
Wow. That's incredible.
A few $1,000s, that costs like, the new iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Except that this is in your brain
Yeah.
and could restore you back to life if you die.
They asked the team what some of the number one things they want for Neuralink to do. Someone said blindness, because you can basically plug this into a camera. Someone said they'd love to have a heads-up display like in the Terminator.
And then Elon mentioned that you could also have supervision. So not only could you solve your blindness and be able to see, you could see more than how normal people see. You could see infrared or ultraviolet light, which we don't have any access to, which would be super useful to apply sunscreen with, because you'd be able to see the ultraviolet as black,
Sure.
and you'd know, oh, good, I missed my whole right arm. Gee, I would have burned.
That would be good.
That's one little tiny example of it.
How about this one? Telepathy.
Right.
You could basically, we could talk to each other like this. Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse. Think how fast you could get through a Tesla Time News if we could just telepathically beam it right
Yeah.
into your skull, huh?
On tele-YouTube.
And I mean, there's a reason for this. It's not just because it's cool. It wouldn't be like, hello, how are you doing? Elon said that, words are very low data rate. You have to sit here for an hour
Right.
to learn all of the things that we learned about this week. Imagine if you could just it's a thought in
Yeah.
my head.
One of the members of the team said, trapped creativity in your mind. Many of us we don't have the skills to put out art or music or engineering without studying it for years.
Right.
Here, if you can think it, you can do it.
Because, right, I played saxophone for many years. And the problem was, I had this great melody in my head. The problem was, I had these dumb fingers, and they go, bop, ba-dum, bom, bom. And you have to train them.
Another member of the team said limited human suffering to a small percentage of today. So, I mean, that's a really good point. Many of us are suffering. This could do away with that suffering. And then Elon pointed out again that how we coexist with advanced AI symbiosis is really super important. He said his vision for Neuralink is for humans to merge with artificial intelligence such that the future of the world is controlled by the combined will of the people of Earth. I think that that's obviously going to be the future that we want.
Whoa.
I just want to put this out there right now. After really giving this some thought, I think that Neuralink could be Elon's biggest company.
You said that about all his companies.
As I understand where he's going with things, this could affect every human being on Earth.
It's a really good point. And yeah, pretty much at one point or another, we're all going to run into some kind of issue that has to do with your brain, or how your brain communicates with the rest of your body, or how your brain communicates with other people. And if you can just have a neural link that is hooked up to your brain and can communicate in ways that we have never been able to communicate before, this is like the invention of the printing press times a bajillion.
And I do want to stress, if you're thinking about working for a company, you should take him up on his offer and go apply, because this could be one of the biggest career moves of anyone's life. This is like working for one of the geniuses back in, like going to work for Edison or something.
Right.
And lastly, I think a lot of people are going to overlook this because they're like, well, it's just some pigs. Hey, a year ago, it was amazing how fast the company was working, but there was nothing really to show other than some computer pictures. Now they've got animals with these embedded in them, and they're happy.
Right.
Hey, if you want to share this clip with your friends, then head on over to the Now You Know Clips channel, where you can see these bite-sized news pieces instead of having to share the whole 1-hour episode.
Next up, we have Jean-Baptiste in Paris reporting on the Citroen Ami.
Hi Zach and Jesse. Today I'm reporting from Paris, where I've been invited by Citroen to test drive the new Ami, and later I'll be able to have a chat with one of their spokesperson. So let's get to it. We were scheduled to meet at the Cercle Lebrun, the painter's mansion built in 1700, right in the heart of Paris. And I've got to say, Citroën really did a good job decorating the place. There were multiple sitting areas, with panels on easels, with detailed info about the car. And they also had all the Ami goodies on display. Then we were treated to a short presentation, and off we went for the test drive. When I stepped back inside the Ami for the test drive, I was again struck by the sense of space that you get, no doubt due to all the windows and the skylight. The acceleration of the Ami is good, but I still felt it didn't totally match my expectation for an electric vehicle. The car also noticeably lacks power steering, but since it's also designed to be used by teenagers, I can understand parents not wanting to have the car accelerate like crazy or turn with the smallest nudge on the steering wheel. The absence of a rear-view mirror and of a self-cancelling feature for the blinker were a bit more annoying, although not really a deal-breaker for me. For this part of the day, Citroën provided us with a cell phone with a pre-established GPS route that took us around Paris through various landmarks, providing us with great photo ops. Driving the Ami, even on narrow Parisian streets, sometimes felt like you were driving on a 2-lane road, even though you actually were not. The Ami definitely shares the space with other mobility solutions, and I wouldn't be scared riding my bike alongside one. All in all, I had a pretty enjoyable time aboard the Ami, and pretty soon the course was over and it was time to do the interview.
Our intention is not to be like a car, it's to be like a urban mobility object. But even if we are in the same category as the VSP, we have thought and worked on a vehicle which is not a VSP. We don't want to copy the small cars. We want another concept. You mentioned that VSP are popular for older people. We want to take the opportunity of the license-free ability to ride Ami to attract those young customers as well. And the modernity for us related to Ami is one of the things that make us far from the VSP universe. Ami is not a French car. First, it's not a car. As I said, it's more like a urban mobility object. And then, even if it has been designed and thought initially in France, it's supposed to be sold all across Europe. Light quadricycle are quite popular for young customers in Italy, and we are really thinking that there is a market for this new kind of concept of vehicle all across Europe, and maybe later in other regions. Ami, as we think it is not only designed to be purchased as a classical car. So we are proposing a possibility to use it 1 hour, 1 day, 1 month. So we want to develop some kind of a la carte offers to answer the different needs of the customers. And to answer your question about free to move, we really think Ami is a great asset to develop car sharing operations. Ami is born for the city, for the small trips, for short usages. And I think that's also the ambition for car sharing in the big cities. And the free to move will use and develop its offers with Ami, I'm sure of it. We are seeing what is being done on the market. Some of the new ways of thinking of Tesla are used by everyone in all the OEMs. So we see how e-selling or e-business is working, and we try to see what is the right thing to take from the competitors and to adapt it into a Citroen way. We want also the journey to be a Citroen journey, and I think it's not the end of the dealership, but it's more like an evolution with the new way of consumption for the customers. We are trying to create our own Ami customer experience, and that's already a big deal.
All right, that's it for today. Back to you, Zach and Jesse. Now you know.
Thank you so much, JP. That was fantastic reporting.
I mean, we wanted to go cover it. but we can't. So it's really, really astoundingly helpful to have people all around the world who can go cover this stuff, and fantastic reporting.
I have a question. So the doors on this, I think if you noticed, the driver's side door opens one way and the passenger side door opens the kind of opposite, which I've never seen in a car before. Why'd they do that?
Cheapness.
Why is it cheap?
So it's the same door on both sides.
Oh,
So,
right.
I mean, if you were to put the same door in a house, it would always open the same direction.
Oh.
So that's what they were doing here. You'll also notice the front and the back plastic injection molded panels of the car are the exact same piece. So they didn't have to make a new mold, which saves you quite a bit of money.
That's interesting.
Yeah, really smart in terms of reducing cost. And I think that's really an interesting way to go about making an electric car.
So according to an internal memo sent by GM's Executive Vice President of Global Product Development, GM is moving the engineering team that's working on the mid-engine Corvette to GM's electric and autonomous vehicle programs to push the boundaries of what GM's future EV battery systems and components can deliver.
According to GM, the change takes effect tomorrow. GM's head of autonomous and electric vehicles program, Ken Morris, said, GM is committed to an all-electric future. I'm excited to be putting the team that redefined supercar performance, design, and attainability in key roles to help us integrate and execute our EVs to those same high standards.
Now, remember that in January, GM said it would invest $2.2 billion in its Detroit Hamtramck assembly plant, which will be producing all-electric trucks and SUVs, as well as the self-driving ride-sharing shuttle, the Cruise Origin.
Plus, GM will be investing an additional $800 million in supplier tooling and other projects related to its all-electric pickup truck to go into production in late 2021.
Now, GM has said that it will have 20 electric vehicles by 2023 built on its upcoming Ultium platform. It's already building the plant in Lordstown, Ohio, that will make those batteries in a partnership with LG Chem.
Now, of all the things that we just talked about, I think that moving the team off of the Corvette mid-engine to an EV might be the most impactful because, you know, money sounds good. Oh, $1 billion here, $800 million there. That sounds great. But I really think that when you switch a team from saying, hey, we're going to build gas cars to, hey, we're going to build EVs and we want to make the most amazing EV in the world, that is going to change a lot of mindsets, a lot more than like, hey, we're going to be investing some money.
Also, it means that other employees at GM might be thinking, I better brush up on electricity here because I might get moved soon.
Right.
And I mean, if you are one of those employees, you might want to check out our electric lawnmower or ride-on mower series where we converted some things to electric because we learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, but to brush up on the basics of batteries and motor controllers. But yeah, overall, this is a really positive step for GM.
Yeah. As long as it's not too late.
As long as it's not too late, which it is, but we'll see.
So there's some new Tesla over-the-air updates. This is 2020.36. What do we got in there?
We got speed assist improvements.
Yeah, Tesla said Speed Assist now leverages your car's cameras to detect speed limit signs to improve the accuracy of speed limit data on local roads. Detected speed limit signs will be displayed in the driving visualization and used to set the associated speed limit warning.
Okay.
No, you're not
Big
feeling that
whoop.
one? Okay, well, there's more.
I mean, it was usually pretty darn accurate.
All right, well, there's more.
Okay.
How about the green traffic light chime? Tesla says a chime will play when the traffic light you are waiting for turns green. If you're waiting behind another car, the chime will play once the car advances unless traffic-aware cruise control or auto steer is active. When traffic light and stop sign control is activated, a chime will play when you can confirm to proceed through a green traffic light.
So if I'm driving the car and I'm at a red light and then it turns green, the car is going to give me a chime. You know, you're driving along.
Yeah, you zone out.
And people zone out all the time.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there like, come on, let's go. What are you waiting for?
It should be called.
Fuck!
It should be called. All right, there's a third update here, and that's cruise set speed improvements. So quickly adjust the traffic-aware cruise control or auto steer set speed to the current speed by simply tapping the cluster speedometer. You can still tap the speed limit sign to adjust the set speed to the speed limit.
I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't either. So the first 700 VW ID3s arrived in Norway via ship last Friday.
Oh, great. Finally. I've been waiting for these affordable electric cars.
Well, so these are the high-end versions of the ID3. These are the Pro Performance with the 58 kilowatt hour battery and the 150 kilowatt rear wheel. So these aren't the base model. The base version should start in Norway at 330,000 kroner or $37,500.
Okay, but the ones that were sent weren't these 37.
No, it's a very common occurrence, right? You start with your more luxury models first. Now, VW will open its $100 online pre-orders for the ID4 in September, which should start U.S. production at the Chattanooga, Tennessee factory in 2022.
So quite a bit of a wait, but at least they're coming. At least there's
get your
something
order
on
in
the
soon.
horizon, right?
Yeah. All right, so Bollinger just announced that they'll be making an electric delivery van. Remember the B1 and the B2 that we saw at the LA Auto Show?
Big, beefy. They look like bricks with wheels. Cool. What's it going to be called?
It's going to be called the Bollinger DELIVER-E.
Really? Yeah. Come on. Seriously? They had the B1. It sounds like a bomber.
Yeah, so this is the
Deliver-E?
What? All right. I mean, maybe they sat around and they're like, I've got one. The I Deliver.
With the Deliver EV?
How about the Deliver?
Is that like for a deli?
Well, it could be.
What about the Deliverator?
The Deliverator, yeah, that sounds cool.
Awesome. Oh, wait. Another EV's already taken it.
Yeah, so Bollinger Motors says that it will work with a manufacturing partner to build the Deliver-E vans and trucks in the U.S. with production planned for 2022. So here are some pictures of what it's going to look like. I have a little problem with this design. It looks really low to the ground.
Oh, yeah, now that you mention it. I mean, you can fit a lot of stuff in it. And I mean, you don't have to like jump down off the truck with your big box of, fragile stuff. You could just, I guess, stroll right
It almost
out the
looks
back.
like if you stood at the back of the vehicle, it would tilt and just touch the ground so you could just walk right out.
Right. But I mean, it also looks like if you went over a pothole, you'd bottom out faster than Blake Fuller ran up Pikes Peak. That's a new one.
Here's my question. It says that their manufacturing partner is going to build it. So they're not even going to build it. They have to go find a partner first?
I'm guessing that because this is not their design style at all. I mean,
No.
This does look like a brick with wheels, but like a brick that's been smoothed on the front of it. I think that it's probably their powertrain that they just put a giant box on. And then some company makes it look smooth and shiny, and then they're probably going to make something that doesn't look anything like this. It just looks like a regular delivery van,
Right.
And it's just a Bollinger inside, which is good because now we'll have actual electric delivery vans.
Well, speaking of electric delivery vans, Amazon ordered 100,000 electric vans from Rivian, and now they have announced that they are ordering 1,800 electric vans from Mercedes-Benz.
but if they ordered 100,000 from Rivian, they've already run out of electric vans. They need more.
Well, Rivian hasn't made them yet. In fact, it's going to be a while. I think they need some really fast. So they've ordered 1,200 large-size e-Sprinters and 600 medium e-Vitos.
So okay, but why now if they're waiting on these other?
Well, so Mercedes says that they'll start delivering them by the end of this year in Europe. So the e-Sprinter, remember, is the 55 kilowatt hour, 150 kilometer range vehicle with a 900 kilogram payload. And they've got a smaller battery version with the 41 kilowatt hour battery that lets you have a smaller range, but a bigger payload of 140 kilograms. And the e-Vito has a 41 kilowatt hour battery and 150 kilometer range.
Great. So even more electric delivery vans in the world.
Yeah.
That's
a great thing.
That is a great thing. So Drake dropped a new single a while ago.
Who cares? What are we, a music video channel now?
Well, in that music video, Drake drives up in an electric car.
Oh, cool. A Tesla?
No, the Vision Mercedes Maybach 6 Cabriolet concept.
What? Why does this look familiar?
Well, we covered this back a while ago. This is basically a concept car, so it's not like a production ake but apparently Drake has two of them because he shows them in his music video. It was a pretty good music video.
Yeah.
Drake doesn't take himself too seriously in it. Basically, I think it's just a music video about him being bad at sports. Is really all I really got from it. It was funny. They're also driving golf carts in it. So two electric vehicles in
He's
there.
going electric.
Yeah, except then he was also riding jet skis, which I did a lot of research into. Not electric jet skis that he was riding.
Two out of three.
But I mean, good for Drake for driving the most opulent looking
Is that his
EV I've
house?
ever seen. No, that's Nike's headquarters.
Now, Jesse, I thought since this is our 4th year, we should add some stuff to the show. And some of the things I've wanted to add for a while is I wanted to add some segments about things we don't normally get to report on enough. So first segment here, for now, we're going to call it Going Green. If you guys can come up with a better name for it, I'm open to ideas. Where we're going to talk about companies that are installing chargers and solar and EVs and a whole lot more. But usually every week, it's some company doing something that's rather small on the scale of what we're talking about. So we don't get to report on it.
Right, because it's usually we're like, the biggest this and the best that, and you'll never believe this.
Exactly.
It's not usually like, this company chose a very smart, economically viable thing. They installed solar panels on the roof, and it's 5 megawatts. Most people are like, I want the coolest.
I think it's important to report on these things so we get a real sense of what's going on in the world. So British pub and brewery chain Green King, which operates 2,700 pubs in the UK, is installing EV charging in all of its locations. Now, by the end of this year, they plan on installing EV charging at 900 locations. Tony Hodgson, the head of estates at Green King, said, "We've been working hard developing our sustainability plans as we continue to build a greener business. With more people buying electric cars in a bid to be more environmentally friendly, we want to support our customers who come to dine or stay with us by offering electric charging ports in our pubs that are able to do so." Isn't that cool?
That is really cool.
That's a lot of charging all of a sudden. So if you're in the UK, go have a pint on us.
We're not
on us.
We're not going to pay for it.
And here's another segment I've been kind of looking forward to doing. We'll call this one Into the Future. Unless you guys come up with something better. And this will be a weekly segment on new futuristic technologies, because you guys email us all the time with all kinds of cool new technologies. And most of the times we can't report on them because we're like, well, this may never come to fruition, or it might not be economically viable.
You've accomplished this in the laboratory, but this isn't coming to production. And we typically like to tell you, when things are actually coming to production, we don't want to just tell you about things that are like, this might happen, but it also might not. But we do really want to tell you about these technologies. It's just that it's hard to compete with all the other things that are happening every week.
So check out this damn technology.
Hey, I mean, what, you don't like technology? Also, this is a family show.
I'm talking about dams.
You're talking about big concrete dams.
Yeah.
The block. Okay.
Yeah. I learned this week that only 3% of all dam infrastructure in the United States generates power. That's a quote from Catherine Obermeyer. She's a strategic project manager of Obermeyer Hydro.
So why are we making all these dams if we're not making electricity from them?
To control water flow. I don't know why we're doing it, but if
Civil
only
engineers.
But if only 3% are able to generate electricity, I was like, why aren't we doing that with the other 97%?
Right. Just put the stuff in them.
Yeah, well, the stuff, it turns out, you have to go really far down. It's really expensive to do because if you put the generator too high, you just get cavitation. Anyway, high tech. But basically, Obermeyer Hydro has come up with a way to tap into non-powered dams with our scalable and versatile solution. We can facilitate increasing amounts of renewable energy storage throughout the country. So yeah, they've come up with the new turbine technology. You can go check it out here. We'll put the link down below. But if this is true, if this could work out in more places, we could have a whole lot more hydropower in the country. In the world. And then lastly, I thought it was really important every week to talk about solar, but so many weeks go by where we aren't talking about new solar projects. And that's generally because we only want to talk about the biggest, hugest projects. And there's tons of medium and small size projects going in. So we thought, let's have a solar news update section. And again, if you guys have a better name for it, please comment below. And so place where we can talk about it. So let's talk about this. EU regulations require that 85% of solar panels be collected and 80% of the materials in solar panels be recycled.
Okay, that makes sense.
So earlier this year, the nonprofit EU solar panel recycling body PV Cycle announced it had collected 5,000 tons of modules in France, of which 94.7% were recycled. PV Cycle Communications Manager Bertrand Lemkowitz said 95% is an exceptional recycling figure, especially for a multi-component product. Only soda cans can claim to do better, but they don't reach 100% either. A washing machine doesn't come close to 70% recycling. Everyone has one, but nobody cares.
So, 95% of the solar panel can be recycled.
And get this, the other 5% is dust that they capture in filters, and that can be used kind of like sand in cement. So actually, you can pretty much recycle 100% of it.
So there was an article that came out recently that was like, solar panels are going to kill everybody. It's toxic and it's they're all going to die right now and we're all going to die. And we were like, oh my gosh, solar panels are going to be the end of us. Turns out they're 95% recyclable.
Right.
today. And I mean, you could conceivably get slightly better than 95%.
And down the road, we could even make them so that they could be recycled better.
So coal, how recyclable is coal? Like how you take the coal and then you burn it and then you take the coal out of the furnace, or do you? No, you don't do that.
No.
It's gone.
It's all pollution.
It's all pollution at that point. Okay, gasoline. Same thing with gasoline.
Yeah, well, any of the fossil fuels. Yeah.
So you can't.
I see where you're going.
You can't
with this.
recycle that.
No. But people get upset. I wonder who those people are.
Probably the people who don't want solar in the first place.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And, if you'd like to get solar on your roof, as we have it here, powering the show right now, then call up the people at Energy Pal. We'll put our link down below. Let them know that Now You Know sent you. And they will help you go through all of the questions that you have, because I'm sure you've got lots of questions. That's what they're there for. The geeks at Energy Pal know all the answers. And if they don't know the answer, they'll find out for you. All right, it's time for our video contributor stories. Who do we have this week, Jess?
We have Michael, and he has a very interesting way to run his house.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. This is Mike from Coral Gables, Florida again. I got a question from my energy-saving contributor story on how to use smart switches to control bigger loads like water heaters and pumps. So let me show you what I did. I have to start by saying do not attempt this unless you are trained in electrical work and have a good understanding of the national, electrical, and local codes. Building this wrong could cause loss of property or injury. Currents greater than 100 milliamp, that's 0.1 amp, can be lethal. I built this on a board so that you can see what's involved. Yours will have to be in an improved electrical box. What you'll need is a 2-pole contactor, a smart switch, some wiring, and some wire nuts, and a couple of spade connectors. Now the contactor controls the load and the smart switch controls the contactor. Now I've named this device water heater and connected it on the app. Alexa, turn on the water heater. Alexa, turn off the water heater. Thanks a lot, guys. Now you know.
Smart switches. Michael's a smart guy.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for our Patreon bonus stories. And if you want to support us with as little as $1 a month, you can check out all of our bonus stories. I got a message from a Patreon this week who said that he started at Patreon story, I think, 1, and has worked his way up. I think he's at 175 now. And he's been just checking out all of our Patreon bonus stories, and he's seen you grow up.
That's true.
And seen me get old.
I've seen me grow up too. Yeah. Crazy.
All right, so we'll see you over there. All right, we're back from the Patreon bonus stories. It's time for the Patreon shout-outs. Who do we got this week, Jess?
We have KT Turek,
Jens Brent,
Neil Levine,
Adrian Dawson,
David Cordes,
Edward Hulst,
Chris Richardson,
Ken Regal,
Tom McDonald,
Don Wood,
Jared Wild,
Gary and Joanne Bradshaw,
Randall Sweet,
and Steve Laughlin.
Thank you so much for supporting us. This channel doesn't happen without you.
All right, it's time for Elon's tweets of the week, and he's been, pretty tweety. So Chris tweeted this out about a self-propelled, self-submersible mobile spacecraft launch platform converted from a mobile drilling rig. And Elon said,
Starship and Super Heavy, which is 10 times the mass of the rocket in question, will mostly launch from ocean spaceports long term. And what would be the reason for that? Because people don't like having rockets take off and land from near their house.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Like, people don't like to be near airports. Imagine if it was like, honey.
All the windows in your house break every single.
Oh, I guess it's 6 o'clock again.
Time to replace the windows in our house.
And then Alex tweeted out, Giga Texas drone photographer Peter Dog 15 is being told by site security to stop filming the construction site. Can you help, Elon? And Elon said,
I'm fine with reasonable drone footage. Just needs to be a fair distance and not coming right up on people. I think our security was a little overzealous in this case. And Elon's coming out, I think, on the right side of this here. I think, obviously you can fly a drone dangerously, which is to say into people's faces. But for the most part, he really does want there to be good drone coverage of these factories being built. I think because he knows just how historic they're going to be.
Yeah. Viv said, any update on this year's Starship event? Still aiming for September? And Elon said,
Neuralink this month and Tesla next month. SpaceX probably October. We will have made a lot of progress by then. Might have a prototype booster hop done by then. So
a full like Starship doing a booster hop?
Not just the Starship, the Starship booster, the first stage of the Starship, which is going to be a massive rocket.
And then Elon said, Boring Company Tunnel in Vegas is only a few months from being operational. Remember, that's supposed to be operational by January for CES 2022. So, yeah, it seems like he's in line to get it done.
Definitely.
And then Ross Gerber said, Tesla market cap now about $420 billion. Congratulations, Elon. And Elon said, thanks to a smart and hardworking team at Tesla, these sure are wild times. Yes, they are. $420 billion.
It's a joke.
And
it's a, just in case you didn't get it, it's a 420 joke, which a lot of people think, oh, it's because Elon smokes a lot of weed. I think it's just an immature joke.
Yeah, I do too. And if you think your Sunday was busy, Michael Baylor said, SpaceX's current schedule for Sunday, which is yesterday's, absolute madness. Starlink launch, SAOCOM launch, Starship launch, and that is 2 launches from Cape in just 9 hours, Elon said.
Good chance something will slip, but yeah, Sunday is intense.
That's crazy. And then Elon said, all of physics is either impossible or trivial. It is impossible until you understand it, and then it becomes trivial. And that is a quote from E. Rutherford, which I thought was classic Elon.
Yeah, I think that we don't often look back at some of the physicists of the past, aside from just like doing a little project for your chemistry exam or whatever. But yeah, I mean, these were people with a lot of smarts and said some pretty smart things, and we barely get to hear them.
Yeah. And then Elon said, we must pass the great filter. And Eva Fox says, we're rare, we're first, or we're And Elon said, yep.
And this is a good chart kind of showing what the great filter could look like.
Keep in mind, our civilization right now might have actually passed the great filter. It might be that other civilizations have died even before getting to this point. Or it might be that we haven't even come to the point where we're going to die off. But what he's saying is basically there's a window, and if you don't get off this planet in time, then you might have passed your window.
Right. There's no planet in the whole universe that's going to be a planet the whole time.
Right. You got to keep moving.
You got to keep moving. Eventually, we got to get off this rock.
All right, it's time for community mail time.
Community mail time.
And folks, you need to send us some more community mail because I think I know you're busy with stuff. I don't know what you're busy with, but send us your pictures, your ideas, your new cars you're getting, whatever. Let us know. That's what we're here for at Community Mail Time. All right, what do we got this week?
We got Aaron in California. He was visiting the Redwoods and took this beautiful picture of his Model 3.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Aaron. All right, and our poll this week was what?
Will there really be snake jazz in Teslas? Kind of a weird one. So here's the answer.
Okay.
Most people thought that there was going to be snake jazz. There was a very, very small number of people who thought that Elon was only kidding. Most people thought there was going to be snake jazz. A roughly equivalent number of people thought that there was going to be kind of like, remember in the early 2000s and maybe the late 1990s when you could get like a ringtone?
Mm-hmm.
So you could get...
remember it well.
So you could get like a Britney Spears song and be like... and you'd be like, oh, it's my boyfriend. Flip. Hello. Remember the flip? Oh, that's great. I think that it would be great if you could choose which sound to get, and if people could add sounds.
That would be great.
So that way you could have the coconuts.
Snake jazz is going to get tired quick. All right, let's go to our Supercharger review, sponsored by our friends at Evannex, the Tesla community's accessory store. If you're looking for awesome accessories for your Tesla, then check out Evannex and use our discount code NowYouKnow to save you $10 on purchases over $100.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, it's Dave here in Wyoming. I'm in Casper, Wyoming at the 8 stall. Anyway, it's located in the Hat 6 Travel Center right off I-25. And it's in the parking lot of Hooch's Bar and Drive-Thru. It's brand new, 250 kilowatts, and it's located pretty convenient. It's right next to some fossil fuel pumps here, and behind me are diesel pumps for the big rigs. I give it about a 9 out of 10 for food. Apparently there's a lot of stuff to eat. Anyway, this is Dave, Casper, Wyoming at the absolutely brand new, open today 8-stall, 250 kilowatt charger in Casper, Wyoming. Now you know.
I'm here at the brand new 6-stall supercharger in Bethel, Maine. As you can see, there's just 6 superchargers. They haven't even installed the lights. It's in a parking lot with a urban gas station. There is a Subway inside of it and a mini mart. And that's just about it. And on the other side, if you can see, there's beginnings of a cornfield. And I give this a 5 out of 10, and now you know.
I'm at Reservations, Norway. No idea how to pronounce that name. Anyway, this is the most northern supercharger in the world. There are 6 stalls and restaurant right next to it. You better like that restaurant because it's the only restaurant here, but it was actually quite good. Then here is also Arctic Ocean right next to it, so you can go to swim there. It's very warm and nice. You will really enjoy it.
Thank you,
guys.
So that was great.
Yeah, it was.
And so this is the next contender in the most beautiful superchargers of the world. Well, we should start. Maybe it should be a calendar.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I love
the
it.
most beautiful. You'd be like, whoa, look at September. And this is in Arna, Norway.
That's a good contender because look at that view. You got water, you got mountains.
Yeah, and this was sent in by Arne. So Arna, Norway from Arne.
Very nice. That's definitely a contender. All right, what do we got for new superchargers this week?
We have the 8-stall version 3 supercharger in Laule, Portugal.
We have number 542 in Europe, the 6-stall 250 kilowatt in Boston, UK.
Why Boston?
Why not?
The 16-stall version 3 in Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Got the 5-stall 150 kilowatt in the Dalles, Oregon? Or
No.
is it the Dalles? The Dalles? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think the Dallas.
The Dalles?
Dalles.
The Dalles?
Yeah.
You'll correct us in the comments. I know you will.
We have an 8-stall version 3 in Minnetonka, Minnesota.
Number 49 in Florida is the 8-stall 250 kilowatt in Panama City Beach, Florida.
The 20-stall version 3 in San Jose, East Capitol Expressway, California.
And number 872 in the U.S., number 1941 in the world is the 8-stall 120 kilowatt in Patterson, California. All right, you made it to the end of the show, and there's going to be a winner this week. Now, to get in here, you got to be a Patreon. The more you support us, the more chances you have to win. And what are you going to win?
Falling off the... Should I do it this week? This way this week?
Why? What's it falling off for?
I couldn't sit it on the... Running out of desk space here.
I feel like Blake needs this one. This is Tesla parking only.
All right, and the winner
Who's the winner?
is Jens Edberg.
Congratulations, Jens.
Or Jens.
Or Jens.
I don't know. It's hard when there's no... It's just a card in a thing. I don't know the country of origin. I don't know anything.
And I just urge you guys, not that many people I think know about Pikes Peak. I never knew about it because it's not televised. This is the first year I think that it's ever been even remotely televised. It wasn't perfect.
It wasn't televised.
It
was Facebookatized.
Right. But it was fun to watch. And I think you're going to get an even better experience when you head over to the Electric Performance channel.
Definitely.
We've already got some videos there of the test days. And as we get more of the cool footage that we had, because we got GoPros all over the car.
And we got helicopter footage.
Yeah,
we got... And look, I mean, this is stuff that we had to really work to get.
Yeah.
Helicopter
that's not cheap.
footage
Yeah.
and you know...
Super shout out to Toyo Tires because their support allowed us to get the media package, which means thousands of dollars worth of cool shots that normally we couldn't have gotten.
Right.
So we're going to be putting that together as we start to trickles in. And so you'll find that on the Electric Performance channel. And if you're wondering, like, what are they talking about? Electric Performance channel. It's a YouTube channel we started. The link is down below. And we've got the whole road to Pikes Peak there. Blake's going to tell you how he got the car up the mountain. You're going to find out everything to do with racing, and it's super fun.
And there's more that we're going to be doing with the channel and the race cars and
we want to know what you want us to do. Like,
Yeah.
if, we're not experts here. We know nothing. So, like, let us
it's
know
not like
what races should we do? What the time should we beat? Like, please tell us in the show notes below or on the Electric Performance channel, especially because that's where we're going to be checking a lot. Because, we need to know, like, what should we do next?
I think we should put cold air thrusters on the Model 3.
I think we should race a Model Y at Pikes Peak next year.
That would be cool, too. A little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Nicer ride height.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done that already. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't. We put out this show every single week, and we have In-Depth every Friday. So the beginning and the end of your week, you'll have some interesting video content. And we'll see you next week. Now you know.